Hi everybody. Brian Meyer again from the Midwest PBIS Network, and really excited to have this session so we could learn from Isanti Middle School and Dr. Hannah, I'm sorry, your last name?
Pagel.
Pagel. Thank
Yeah.
you, and Dr. Pagel as well. Recommended to us from the Minnesota PBIS Network's long history of implementation. So excited to get this perspective into one of the aspects of your work. And just a reminder, we're recording now. And then after the presentation portion, we will pause recording and really encourage the folks who are listening in to ask any questions. All righty,
Sounds
let's jump in. Hannah, take it away.
perfect. Excellent. Well, it's really awesome to be here. Um, as he mentioned, my name is Hannah Pagel. I just got my doctorate at the beginning of March, so it was really fun to add the doctor at the beginning of my name. I'm the assistant principal at Isanti Middle School, and I am excited to share with you all today TFI 1.5, Strengthening School Culture Through School Acknowledgement. And so we will get started here. A little bit about Isanti Middle School. We are north of the metro of the Twin Cities by about 35 minutes or so. And so our school is not quite a suburb by any means. We're more rural. Grades 6 through 8, we've got about 423 students as I speak right now. And we are a pretty homogeneous population. 82.2% white students in our school. We are diversifying. Each year it grows a little bit more racially diverse. So that is definitely something the community is getting used to. But so it's kind of exciting that we get to work with different groups of students every year. And it's amazing to see this community grow. We've been a sustaining exemplar school since 2020 to 2021, so we're pretty proud of our PBIS practices as a district. We have a district-wide PBIS meeting, and each school has our own PBIS teams as well. And we are part of the Cambridge-Isanti school district. So Isanti is more south, closer to the metro. Cambridge is further north. And so we're one big school district. There is one other middle school in our school district. And I said 423. When I put this together, it was 426 students. So I was just off by a couple. But so yes, we are part of a larger school district, and we work really well together across the district on our PBIS implementation. So as I mentioned, I am talking about TFI 1.5. Educators consistently and equitably implement a written process for delivering behavior-specific praise that is linked to school-wide expectations, used across settings, documented, and differentiated to meet student needs to acknowledge students' academic and SEB skills in a manner valued by students. Some of the data sources that we use to support TFI 1.5, we have our PBIS rewards, which is part of what I'll be talking about today, our program that we use. Erin's on. Hi, Erin. Our student of the month is something that we also really take pride in. And then something that I also look at data for is our character breakfast, which this is our second year doing character breakfast. And so I'll get to talk a little bit more about that. Those are kind of our main sources, but we'll probably have a chance to talk a little bit further about more of what we do when it comes to acknowledgement and our school-wide expectations. So a little bit about PBIS rewards. We use an electronic app, and I don't know if anybody on the online right now has ever heard of PBIS rewards. We really like it. It's been kind of a yearly, should we use it? Should we not use it? It's kind of an expensive program to use, but we really like it because it's pretty instantaneous. If teachers are seeing students following what we call our Blue Jacket Way, our character traits, then they're awarding points electronically as students are doing those things. It's an app, so it's on phones. So if I'm standing in the cafeteria and I'm noticing somebody doing something that shows Blue Jacket pride or our Blue Jacket character traits, then we can find that student and award points pretty easily. And so some of the data we look at from this program I just kind of showed a little snapshot right here. We look monthly to see how each of our grade levels are doing, and then also which months, are kind of our highest ones, and then really kind of focusing that on acknowledging the school for positive behavior, but also using that as part of our problem solving process of, has behavior been higher in this grade? What kinds of points or what kinds of character traits are being recognized in that grade level? Are they being recognized? Could that be why behaviors were higher? So we're really trying to use that as kind of a problem solving method for when we're looking at behavior as a team. And then our school actually gets to see that snapshot as well monthly. So they're tracking together and we're really transparent about, as a school, what are we doing? How are we focusing on these different things at the different grade levels? Eighth graders, notoriously do not buy in as much into our PBIS programming. Kind of like when you get to the high school level, we have to be creative. So how can we acknowledge our students in eighth grade for those good behaviors as well? That kind of sets them apart from the sixth and the seventh graders. And then, so again, just like a little snapshot, you can see it there. It's like tickets or paper, but it's digital. So we don't have students that are stealing points from each other because they can't. It allows for our whole school reward tracking. So the program is really amazing. We can pull reports. I promise I'm not trying to sell PBIS rewards to anybody today. It's efficient. And then we do use it for things like raffle drawings, field trips where we are building PBIS-based field trips for students showing our Blue Jacket character traits. We're acknowledging them for those good behaviors, and they can attend field trips by qualifying through the point system that we have. And then, as I previously mentioned as well, we do use it for behavior tracking across grade levels. Some of the experiences that we use for school-wide acknowledgement, we have our character breakfast, which is a trimester thing. So we've had two so far this year. We have one more coming up in June at the end of the year. And our teachers can nominate students for character breakfast because of the character traits that they show. So, for example, one of our character traits is responsibility. So when teachers fill out a form for the student to go to character breakfast, they need to say which character trait they're recognizing in the student, and then they'll put a little blurb about when that student has shown that character trait. And then they get invited to this really fun breakfast where parents and teachers and district staff come, and we talk about all of the good, amazing things our students are doing, how they're showing our Blue Jacket pride. And then the students get a little certificate that has the comment on there from the teacher. So they get to read about what Blue Jacket character trait they are being recognized for. They get a little embarrassed, but it's fun to be able to celebrate the fun things with them. I mentioned field trips, and so not all of our field trips are PBIS based, but as a team, we've really come up with ways of how can we really focus this on showing our Blue Jacket character traits without really excluding students because of behavior. That had been kind of a thing for a long time of we're excluding if you hit this many office discipline referrals, and more of a we're looking at the positive. You're showing this trait, you've earned the points in these different areas, you've qualified yourself to go on the field trip. And so really trying to point out those positives. Student of the month, I think is a kind of a common thing in schools, but again, we look at the character traits. Each month is a different character trait. And so for this month, and I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what our character trait is, but I'll send a message out to teachers and say, this month we're looking at responsibility. Please nominate students that have shown responsibility, and then they put kind of where they saw it and why, and then we pick students that way. So we really try to focus on that, and then the students also know that they are working on that particular character trait. Something that we are trying to become more sustainable about as we're acknowledging students for positive behavior as a school is more experiential type things that do not break the bank. So our school store has not been super sustainable because we don't have a lot of funding to go towards buying trinkets and things like that. And middle schoolers don't necessarily buy in as much to the trinkets. So we're looking at experiences for acknowledging good behavior. So we've had puppies that come into school so students can earn time uh, with a puppy during the school day. Students are working on painting ceiling tiles, and those have to be based around kind of our blue jacket pride and character. Extra gym time and working as a TA for a teacher. So just really thinking about what our students enjoy doing and also speaking with our students and getting their perspective and incorporating that into what their experiences are for showing their blue jacket character traits. Some of the impact it's had, student voice, especially at the middle level, is so important. They are working on becoming independent individuals and really trying to find opportunities where they can be independent is so key because if they have that voice, then they will have more buy-in to what we're actually doing here at the middle school. We've been more intentional about awarding our points because we're focused on those character traits. How does this fit into what our school-wide PBIS plan is? And then, as I had previously mentioned, that school store not being sustainable, we do still have a school store. There are still little trinkets, fidgets, and things like that. But we've managed to really cut our costs down because we've got what we have and what we can provide that does not break the bank. And so we can keep those things alive for our students. And it also involves the community. So we've really been able to bring community members in. The puppies that come in are through a community member. And we've worked with different establishments like the movie theaters in Cambridge-Isanti. We've worked with the bowling alley. So really forming those partnerships and sharing with them the good work that we're doing here at the middle school. So my self-assessment, I gave us a 4. Continue to incorporate student voice and ensure multiple perspectives are heard, being intentional about including the hidden voices to ensure all students are included. We do have a small group of students that kind of provide input to our PBIS team, and we do work really hard to make sure they're able to share that voice. I think we can be even better about incorporating their voice as much as possible and also being intentional about who those students are. How are they selected, and how can we make sure the other voices that maybe aren't in the room are heard and can provide input on the school-wide acknowledgement? And I know got a couple minutes left, I think. We leave time for questions at the end. So my summary, I would say for schools that are just getting started, think beyond the trinkets and talk with students about what motivates them. When I'm working with students on behavior in my office and maybe I'm coming up with a contract of some sort with them, I always ask them, what type of thing would you work for? What motivates you? What would you stop being tardy to class for if we set up this plan for you? So having those conversations with students first about what motivates them and really incorporating their ideas into what is happening. So we're not just saying we're going to do something, we're actually doing what they are suggesting. And then also, each school is unique. So what works for my building might not work for another building. So it's important to tie it to your school and also know what your school needs are and who your students are. And then if you're working on getting better, examine those current practices. Are they happening because that's the way things have been done? We come across that, pretty often. Is there a better way to do it? Just because it's been done that way doesn't mean that's the way it needs to keep being done. And so working with the team to come up with ideas for the future and kind of dreaming big. And then really continuing to be intentional about rewarding students, but make it meaningful. Don't just give points because, oh, they're doing this. Is that just an expectation for them? Or is it going kind of above and beyond sometimes? And also looking forward to recognizing
Mhm.
students in, again, those more meaningful ways and sharing with them that you are recognizing them. And that was my 15-minute presentation.
Yeah.
So I'm opening it up to Q&A. What questions do you have for me?